Today we bring you a video full of mysteries and enigmas that defy logic and history. We will explore surprising finds, from archaeological discoveries that seem straight out of a science fiction movie to stories of advanced technology that seem impossible for their time. Number 1. Jade stones with mysterious sculptures. Residents on the outskirts of Puebla, near Veracruz, Mexico, found in March 2017 jade stones with mysterious sculptures that appear to represent humanoid beings with large heads, similar to gray aliens. This finding was reported on Twitter by journalist Javier Lopez Diaz from Cinco Radio. The stones, studied by experts, present engravings that could represent a real contact between beings from other worlds and the Mayan or Aztec civilizations. The authenticity of these artifacts seems to be confirmed by the inspection of a nearby cave, where more remains and petroglyphs were found that reproduce scenes of an encounter between extraterrestrial beings and pre-Hispanic cultures. Various sculpted designs can be seen on the documented stones, including spaceships and beings resembling gray aliens. One of the stones shows a spaceship with a being holding an oval object and a pre-Hispanic chief with an ear of corn. The discoverers called these stones first meaning stones. Researchers suggest that ancient locals would have had contact with extraterrestrials and documented this through rock engravings. Hector Pavon, in charge of the team's security, stated, "They are extraterrestrial ships, and more than anything they are teaching us that the extraterrestrials had contact with the Mayans, dialoguing and making exchanges." Number 2. Kailasa Temple Mysteries. The construction of ancient monuments is one of the great archaeological mysteries of the 21st century, particularly the Kailasa Temple in Ellora, Maharashtra, India. Dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva, the temple was carved from a single rock, unlike other megalithic structures that join several rocks. The temple measures 30 meters high, 33 meters wide and 50 meters deep, and is one of 34 monasteries and temples in an area of 2 kilometers, perfectly aligned with the cardinal points. Scholars believe it was carved around 300 BC, although ancient astronaut theorists suggest it could be older. They estimate that construction required the removal of more than 400,000 tons of rock, a feat archaeologists say was accomplished in just 18 years with simple tools. To achieve this, 5 tons of rock would have had to be removed every hour, something that seems impossible even with modern technology. Furthermore, no evidence of rocks removed near the site has been found. Ancient Vedic texts mention a device called bomastra, capable of piercing and vaporizing rock. Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that this advanced technology could have been used to build the temple. This device could have allowed the rock to be carved quickly and accurately, explaining the lack of evidence of removed rocks and the short construction time. Was the Temple of Kailasa made only with chisels and hammers, or was there intervention of advanced technology? Ancient astronaut theorists propose that more advanced beings, considered gods by locals, used exotic technology to create this monumental structure. Number 3. The Vikings, known for their ferocity, carried the Ulfberht sword, a weapon constructed of steel so pure that its quality remains difficult to replicate today. Around 171 Ulfberht swords, dating between 800 and 1000 AD, have been found in Europe. These swords were made of a metal with almost no impurities, known as crucible steel, which required smelting iron at very high temperatures, something unknown in Europe for centuries. Ulfberht steel contained 3 times more carbon than other swords of the time, making them stronger, more flexible, and lighter. This level of purity and carbon control was a feat thought impossible before the Industrial Revolution. However, medieval blacksmiths could not reach the temperatures necessary to separate slag from iron. Experts believe that temperatures of 1,700 degrees Celsius were needed to make Ulfberht, which Viking smiths achieved 800 years before their time. Although the secret of its construction has been lost, modern blacksmith Richard Furrer managed to recreate a similar sword using medieval technology, although he described it as extremely complex. The name Ulfbert engraved on the swords remains an enigma. Some believe it represents a legendary blacksmith or a family of blacksmiths, while others suggest it could be related to a monastery or secret society. The Ulfbert were probably weapons of the Viking elite, as only 171 have been found. The origin of the technology used to create these swords is unknown, which has led to speculation about the influence of an advanced civilization on the knowledge of metallurgy. The mystery of the name Ulfbert and how the Vikings acquired this technology remains one of the great archaeological enigmas. Number 4. The mysterious stones of Aztlan. In 1999, Dr. Pablo Garcia Sanchez discovered stones in the desert area of El Toro, in Ojuelos, Jalisco, that appear to represent extraterrestrial visits 27,000 years ago. The stones show flying saucers, gray aliens, and scenes from space, mixing Mesoamerican styles. Some even have star maps and representations of the Aztec calendar with alien faces. The artifacts, some made of stone and others of kaolin, baffle researchers due to their quality and the technique used. According to carbon-14 tests, they date back thousands of years. In 2015, Garcia published a book suggesting that these artifacts indicate extraterrestrial influences on the Aztec civilization, linking them to the mythical Aztlan. A farmer also found 3,000 artifacts in a cave, of which 2,500 were made of stone and the rest were made of kaolin. These objects, without molds, appear to have a layer of patina that does not adhere permanently, which surprised the researchers. Despite the evidence, the authenticity of the artifacts is debated. Researchers like Klaus Dona support its antiquity, while critics demand more studies. Mexican authorities dismissed the discovery as a hoax, but the possibility of ancient contact with extraterrestrials remains open. Number 5. Al Nasla Rock Formation. The Al Nasla Rock Formation towers above its surroundings with petroglyphs dating back thousands of years, and signs of human occupants dating back to the Bronze Age. Its most notable feature, however, is that it is divided in half, with each piece of the block resting on a thin, small pedestal. Although many people question whether nature could have generated such a feature, 3 important geological factors are responsible for one of the most impressive rock formations in the world. Another fractured joint parallel to the main fissure can be found at the back of Al Nasla, which could be a clue. Erosion of sandstone and limestone leads to spectacular features throughout the Arabian Peninsula. Earthquakes and fault lines could have played a role in the formation of the Al Nasla fissure. Although its fate is inevitable, Al Nasla remains a geological wonder. Number 6. Giant Buddha. In ancient times, many beautiful statues were created, many of which are quite believable and would appear to have been created by humans. However, some of these masterpieces defy all logic, such as the Buddha statue in the Chinese city of Lesan. Located on Mount Amei, this imposing statue, carved directly into the rock, reaches a height of 71 meters. The head alone measures almost 15 meters, and the width of the statue is an impressive 30 meters. Although it is believed to be more than 1,000 years old, scientists continue to be amazed at the difficulty of creating such a grandiose structure, even for an advanced civilization like China during the Tang Empire in the 7th century AD. The question remains, how was it possible to create something so monumental without advanced machinery? Some locals suggest intriguing theories, such as the intervention of advanced civilizations or even extraterrestrial help. What do you think? Although the Buddha statue has some logical explanation, many other sites on the planet defy any explanation. Number 7. The Hammer of London. Also known as the London Artifact, it is one of the most mysterious discoveries of the 20th century, or should I say, the most debated. Discovered in London, Texas, in 1936 by Max Hahn and a companion, the hammer was found embedded in ancient rock, leading to speculation about its age and origin. The hammer is an iron tool with a wooden handle. It measures about 6 inches long with a diameter of 1 inch. Its size and shape suggest that it was used for fine work or with soft metals. Despite not rusting, it has parts of the handle that have turned into carbon, indicating a possible age. Carl Baugh, who acquired it in the 1980s, suggested it was evidence of a pre-flood civilization, challenging conventional theories. However, this idea is controversial and is not scientifically accepted. Skeptics propose that the hammer became trapped in a limestone formation naturally. Although there are various explanations, some see the London hammer as evidence of time travel or advanced knowledge in the past. Number 8. Discovered in 1929 in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace, the Piri Reis map has been the subject of intrigue and debate among historians. The map was created in 1513 by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis. It is notable because it shows parts of the world, such as the Americas, in a way that challenges our understanding of 15th century geography. He thinks about how a map from 1513, just 2 decades after Columbus sailed to the Caribbean, could depict the New World in such detail. The mystery deepens when you consider some of the speculative theories about the map. Some suggest it shows the coastline of Antarctica, a continent not officially discovered until the 19th century. How could this be possible? Sources of knowledge are lost over time. However, historians offer a more substantiated explanation by suggesting that the cartographer used multiple sources for his map, including letters from Columbus's voyages. Despite logical historical explanations, the map remains a fascinating enigma. Number 9. The Giant's Causeway. The Giant's Causeway, unlike most beaches in Northern Ireland, consists of approximately 40,000 interlocking hexagonal columns. They rise vertically like steps and were formed 65 million years ago, reaching heights of about 11 meters. According to legend, they were once part of a causeway created by a warrior named Finn MacCool and a Scottish giant so they could fight each other. However, the reality is that they were created thanks to the cooling of volcanic lava and the fracturing of basalt columns. Number 10. Puma Punku. It is a megalithic ritual complex located at more than 4,000 meters above sea level in Bolivia. For a long time, archaeologists believed that Puma Punku was built in the 600s AD by the Aymara people. However, recent research using radiocarbon analysis showed that some elements of the complex date back to 100 years BC. If the construction of the complex really began more than 3,500 years ago, this find could be considered a sensation in archaeology. By studying the ruins of the complex, scientists managed to determine what Puma Punku looked like in ancient times. It represented a group of buildings on a hill surrounded by masonry. 2 types of stones were used for construction: red sandstone and andesite. While the sandstone was brought from a quarry located 10 kilometers from the construction site, the andesite had to be transported from a distance of approximately 90 kilometers. Of course, back then there was no machinery for these purposes, so it remains a mystery how people managed to move stones weighing several hundred tons over such distances. It is also surprising that all the stones were specially processed so that they could be assembled without using mortar. And again, the ancient builders accomplished this task without the tools we have today. It is difficult to believe that ancient humans could build such a complex manually, which is why such structures are often associated with extraterrestrial civilizations. Number 11. The mysterious churches of Lalibela, Ethiopia. In Ethiopia, there is a city called Lalibela, which at first glance might not seem very interesting, except for its churches. However, these churches are not only interesting, they baffle even modern scientists. The reason? They were carved from stone and volcanic rock, and each of the three churches is unique and inimitable, distinguished by its style. Some of these structures are situated in pits and surrounded by rocks, while others are carved directly into the cliffs. According to scientists' calculations, they were rebuilt in the 12th and 13th centuries AD, and it only took 25 years to build them from scratch. This begs the question, how were the ancient inhabitants of Ethiopia, who were not known for their advanced knowledge and skills, able to create such skillful and incredible churches with primitive tools in such a short time? Researchers still do not fully understand this riddle, but locals have their own answer: the help of divine forces. According to local legend, both ordinary workers and angels descended to earth to participate in the creation of these churches. The collaboration between humans and celestial beings gave rise to architectural monuments that remain a mystery today. In Africa, there are more mysterious buildings than most people know about, and the churches of Lalibela are a unique architectural treasure on the continent. Number 12. Perhaps the most famous attraction on Easter Island is the Moai statues. Moai are large monolithic statues that represent human beings. Currently, there are 887 Moais on the island. Historians believe that the Moai were created by the Rapanui Aborigines between the years 1200 and 1500 AD. The first to describe these statues was the famous explorer James Cook. Most of the Moai are made of andesitic basalt that was extracted from the quarry of the Reno Raraku volcano. On average, the height of these statues is 3 to 5 meters and their weight does not exceed 5 tons. The largest of them has a height of just under 10 meters. To this day, the true purpose of these statues remains unknown. Locals believe that these stone giants were built by leaders and that the power of their ancestors resides in them, helping to keep the island fragrant and fertile. However, the details of the legend vary among locals. How such huge stones were transported to construction sites also remains a mystery. Scientists assume that primitive tools were used that allowed heavy rocks to be lifted, as well as pack animals.